It has now been almost 3 years since I recorded and uploaded a video onto YouTube. I was looking at the channel for the first time in probably over a year, and I kind of noticed that, you know, there are still some people who are engaged and whatnot, and so I figured after all this time I should pick the hobby back up and show you that I still have the Miata and that a lot has changed on the car since the last time I put up a video. And so I figured might as well record a video and show what's changed and what hasn't in the last 2.5, almost 3 years. So let's get to it. Also, I may have made a new purchase, so stick around to the end to hear about that. Here it is in all of its glory. It's in storage right now. Obviously, I live in Michigan, so I do not drive this car in the winter at all. And of course, it's the winter right now. So every so often, I like to come and check on the car, you know, start it, make sure that everything is good. So let's go ahead and get it started. Now, I'm not 100% certain that it's going to start. This is what I left for myself last time I was here, because it didn't start. So luckily though, I see that the interior lights are on, so let's see. Hey! All right, now that we got the car running, one of the things that I like to do is roll the car back just a little bit so that I can change the spot on the tire that it's been sitting on for so long, but also to check underneath to see if I've got an oil leak. Last time I had one when I came here, but this car seems to fix itself whenever it has a problem like that, so we'll see if it does this time. Let's find out. Yeah, that's not a small amount of oil. Definitely gonna have to figure out what that is in a few months. All right, well, here's the car. I still love driving this thing every day that I possibly can. I mean, I still think it looks great. It drives amazing. So let's get right into some of the changes that I've made to it in the last 2.5 years, because it's been a while. Let's get into it. One of the biggest and most obvious changes, of course, is the giant hard dog roll bar that I installed with the help of my dad and a buddy. This was something that I wanted to get for the car since day one of ownership. Obviously, this is a car from 1992. It's got basically zero safety features, and I removed the one airbag that it had. So I decided that I would get a hard dog roll bar. This roll bar bolts all the way down into actually the frame of the car. It comes through underneath the wheel well. I can show you some photos. It's pretty sweet. And basically, if I ever roll over in this car now, I have a chance of surviving. It also has added a lot of structural rigidity to the car. It feels a lot more rigid as I drive down the road. Not in a bad way, not in like a, you know, feeling like you're rattling yourself to death kind of way, but just in like a confidence in the handling type of way. And also, in my opinion at least, it looks really awesome. I think it kind of ties in the front of the car to the back pretty well. That's, I would say, the biggest change. It was by far the biggest project, and it wasn't cheap, but it was so well worth it. And this was actually the thing I did the longest ago. I think I installed this roll bar only a couple months after I did the exhaust, which is the most recent video on this channel. Another big thing that I did to this car since the last video, which is a huge deal to me, but maybe not to some other people, is I actually changed the center console out with the upgraded version that you can find on Mazda Miata. The changes that this center console makes is it changes the awful cup holder placement that stock Miatas have, which is right behind the shifter, and it's also like barely usable. So if you've got someone's cup there and it somehow stays there, you can't really shift very well. So this center console changes the location of the cup holders up here to the side, which allows you to shift nicely even if there's a cup there, and it actually holds cups decently well. So it's a very obvious and huge upgrade in terms of just, you know, living with this car. Also, you know, the box in the center is a lot bigger, and I've got this spot here where I can put my phone while I'm driving, which is really nice. And that kind of segues us into another upgrade that I did, and that is I changed the radio in here once again. If you've seen how I had this car set up in the past, of course I bought it with the stock radio. I would change it to a single DIN radio. I didn't like the way that looked. Then I changed it to an NB radio because I thought I would use the CD player. Turns out a CD player from the 90s is not all that usable and it would skip and whatnot. So finally I upgraded to this one, which is a Sony double DIN Apple CarPlay system, which, you know, I thought I wouldn't like the way it looks in here, but if I'm honest, it really doesn't look out of place, and having CarPlay is one of the greatest things ever. So yeah, that's something else I changed. Something else that I specifically like about this unit is that it actually has a volume knob. A lot of these CarPlay systems, these aftermarket ones, have the volume controls integrated to the screen, and I just hate having to press the same button over and over and over again just to change the volume. This Sony system is actually one of the cheaper ones on the market, and it has a volume knob, which was huge for me. Staying in the interior, another huge difference you can see, obviously, is my steering wheel. In all the videos before this one, I had an NRG branded wheel, which was great, and it felt great at the time because I was on a very different budget, but I recently switched it out for this really nice looking sleek Nardi wheel. The reason that I went with Nardi is because, if you don't know, the NB Miatas, the second gen, came with a Nardi wheel from the factory. It's obviously not this exact one, but I wanted to get a Nardi wheel because obviously there's pedigree there, but also because Nardi has worked with Mazda in the past, and so it ties in and looks really nice in this interior. I think that this wheel really fits well with how the rest of this interior looks. And I just got black leather, and the placement of your hands feels really good. This wheel feels very strong, and overall I think it was just the right decision for this interior. You can also see that I changed my shift knob out from the one that matched the wheel with all those crazy colors just back to the stock one, so that this whole interior looks, you know, OEM plus basically. And that kind of segues us into another change. This is a very small one, but I changed my lug nuts from also the rainbow ones just to silver so that they match the wheels a little better. And overall, making those few changes very much cleans up the way that both the exterior looks, you know, you don't have that color there anymore, but also the interior just looking black and nice. Makes it feel very OEM plus, which is something that I was going for with this car. Oh, and I almost forgot. With the steering wheel, for those who know, I was using the whole paperclip method to get my horn connected, which is where you connect a paperclip to the horn inside of the steering column, and that touches the wheel, and in essence it allows you to press the horn and the horn will sound. But what that did is every time I would turn the wheel I would get this awful scraping sound, which I just hated so much. Alright, so this brass piece here is what the paperclip needs to make contact with in order for the horn to press. And the reason why it's not hardwired like any of these other connections is because this is the part where the static, non-moving part of the connection meets the moving part of the connection, so there's no way to hardwire it. And so you can hear that's where the scraping sound comes from. So this horn right here does not work, but what I ended up doing is I went behind the dash and I routed the horn over here to this button, and now I just have a button where this blank switch was for my horn. It's not the prettiest thing, but you really can't even see it when you're driving. And you know, the driver's the only one who has to know where the horn is, so that's where it is. That's where it is for me. And one more very slight exterior change is that I swapped out my front and rear side markers for the clear ones. The factory bulbs for these are actually colored correctly, so if you buy clear ones, they still shine the correct color. And with the white car, I think that this was absolutely the right look. I think that it kind of ties the wheels into the color of the paint with the exhaust, especially back here. They were only like 40 bucks on eBay, and yeah, I picked them up. It was a super easy install, obviously plug and play, and overall I think they look great. And then I also actually had my first big maintenance failure with this car. Over the last summer, my clutch master cylinder completely failed, and it was allowing the clutch fluid to make its way beyond the internal seal. And so what would happen is I would be sitting at a red light, for example, and then I would be anticipating that it's going to turn green, clutch in, put it in first, and when I have the clutch fully in, it just starts engaging because the fluid is getting released. And so basically, I at the time had no idea what was going on. I ended up replacing my slave cylinder, replacing the fluid, replacing an entire line at the front of the car before I figured out that it was the master cylinder. So eventually I bought a new master cylinder and solved the problem, but it was a pain in the butt, and it was the first time I had ever had to do that. Obviously, I've never had to bleed brakes before, so bleeding the clutch was a new thing for me too. It was all just a very new experience, but I got through it, and now I know how my entire clutch system works. So that was the first major failure of this car, but got in and ended up replacing it. So yeah, those are all of the main changes that have happened since the last time I uploaded a video. Oh, one more. I got the upgraded door bushings, which sound really boring, and it kind of is. Although when I got these, they're a little bit bigger than the factory ones, and when you have the doors closed, and of course when you're driving, there is way less rattle in the door area. So if your Miata is having any sort of rattling coming from the door area, get these bushings. I got them on Mazda Miata because they changed everything, and the whole car feels super solid after getting those. Such a small thing, really cheap, but it made a huge difference. But yeah, so those are all of the main differences in the car since the last time I uploaded a video. No changes to the motor, to the power, or anything like that. I'm trying to create a great base car in terms of how it handles, how it drives, how it feels. You know, I drive this car as much as I can, so a lot of these interior things are very much like creature comfort things, but I'm building it to be exactly what I want it to be. In the future, I do see power stuff being down the line, but this is where it's at right now. I do have a few things that I am interested in upgrading very soon, and I have a couple things that are actually ready to go in once it's springtime, so let's get started with those. Like I just showed you, I already replaced my steering wheel, but something else that I want to replace is my steering hub adapter. At the moment, I have one of these NRG ones, which was great at the time, just like the wheel, and it's actually a quick release. However, I have seen one too many videos of these quick release steering hubs failing, and so I ended up buying a fixed hub adapter that I'm going to put in the car in the spring. Something else that I bought for the car is an entire new set of brakes. I didn't get a crazy expensive Willwood brake kit or anything like that, although I do want that in the future. I ended up picking and choosing some parts here and there. I got brand new rotors all around and some aggressive pads for the front and some OEM pads for the rear. So I'm going to be able to put those in. And of course I've got a million plans for this thing. Just takes time, you know? So yeah, those are the updates from this car, but I actually just made a new car purchase. I recently graduated from college and got my first real job, and so I decided to replace my daily driver with a more fun and modern car. if you guys have made it this far in the video and you're curious as to what that car is, I want you to guess down in the comments because I'm going to give you a few clues. I wanted something that was fun, manual transmission, $10,000 to $15,000, and 4 doors. So there's your criteria, and also not rear wheel drive, because I needed a winter car that, like I said, could be fun. So let me know what you think it is. I'll show you generally what the color of it looks like. And yeah, take some guesses in the comments, and my next video will be about this car that I just bought. Here's the color. Take your guess. There's also a few other fun car things that could get videos of their own. I bet you guys have been seeing this in the background of some of the shots. This is not my car, it's my girlfriend's car, but I can give you a peek. Bit of a red exterior there. So if you want videos on this, definitely we'll have to talk to her about that. This is just one of her 2 matching cars that are like this. So yeah, you get the idea here. I was just editing the video and realized that I didn't record any sort of an outro, so yeah, let me know what you think my new car purchase is down in the comments, and I guess let me know what other kinds of videos you guys would like to see, because I am definitely interested in picking the hobby back up, and I want to do more with the car, both cars. So yeah, let me know.